Greetings, Mindcrafters, and welcome to another exciting Minecraft discussion today. My name is Kimberly Quinn, and I'm your hostess with the mostest. And I've got little G here in the chair taking a snooze. He's your host with the most, and we are here to talk about yet another way to become the boss of your brain. Because after all, what we're talking about, as far as being Minecrafters or advancing along the Minecraft lifestyle is learning that we are, in fact, the captains of our ship. So, captains of our ships. And it's all about becoming the boss of your brain. And today's topic, which feeds right into it, is how full is your bucket? Right out of the gate, I want to just kind of remind all of my Minecraft listeners out there that our number one job, because everything else comes out of this job, our number one job is to keep ourselves filled up. My good friend Oprah says this, and so do I. We're totally in agreement about that, because even if it's about whatever, being a better partner, better parent, none of that's going to happen if you're running on empty, right? And this is because we cannot, pour water or kindness or empathy or anything else from a bucket that's empty. And we from an empty bucket, we just can't. So there's a kid's book, a children's book out there that I really like. Unlike the Giving Tree, we don't want to go that direction. A children's book I really like, which is called "How Full Is Your Bucket?" It's by Tom Rath and Mary Reckmeyer, and honestly, their story describes what we're talking about beautifully. It's amazing how children's books can do that. It's like we have to be all grown up and get all wordy with these, 14 karat vocabulary words. Well, there's a place for that. I'm not saying that, but wow, when somebody can simplify something to put it in a children's book where grown-ups can get it too, then I'm thinking you really know what you're doing. Okay, so the story begins with this little boy, Felix, and he's building a tower with blocks. And his baby sister Anna wants to join in. So when the little boy rejects her offer to help him and instructs her to go play with her baby toys, she of course responds, sort of full throttle with this toddler tenacity, and deliberately she takes her doll and she just like swings the block tower down, which she was quite tall, whack, and the blocks are everywhere. So then it shows the grandpa explains to Felix that he has dipped into Anna's bucket, and these cool illustrations show these little invisible buckets above the heads of the kids, the grandpa, even the dog, actually. So just as most of us can relate to, the story kind of progresses with a series of unfortunate events happening to Felix. There's like before he goes off to school, he spills the cereal and his mom yells at him. Then he gets on the bus and he gets teased about his backpack, and then something else. He gets to school and somebody else says something. So it's just like a steady downslide, right? I think we've all had this happen where we just start out the day with a kind of negative spin, and then it's like dominoes. It just attracts more and more negative. It's just how it works, right? So at this point, after this spilling the cereal, mom yelling at him, getting teased on the bus, somebody says something else to him at school. It shows the little hovering invisible bucket over Felix's head as being nearly empty. And again, we talked about this. This is how it works. We're operating from a place of depletion. It just doesn't go well for us. So we attract more opportunities picture this in your day. There's more opportunities to just open up, to spill coffee, step on a tack in your bare feet, run your nylons, get a splinter or whatever. This is how it works. So empty buckets make us crabby, and crabbiness attracts more ways, kind of opens the door for more ways to become crabbier. And so then the story takes a turn when Felix's teacher, she praises him. He wrote like a little dinosaur essay, and she asked him to read it to the class. And she wrote nice things to him, and he's all feeling up there, all proud and kind of delivering his little story. And then other good things happen to him too. A couple kids say nice things, and then his whole day turned around. So the book shows drops beginning to land in this invisible bucket, hovering over Felix's head as more of these good, there's more of this good momentum is picking up. The teacher praising him, reading the story, blah, 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 kids saying nice things. So as Felix's bucket begins to fill up, his mood changes, and then lo and behold, he begins to have the desire to do nice things back. So it shows him, I forget, now I'm not looking at the book. It shows him, I think, a teacher drops papers on the ground. He says, "Oh, I'll help you," and I think he tosses a ball back to somebody on the playground that went over by the bushes or something. So it's filling, filling, filling. So Felix is sort of learning the lesson that we're all learning constantly. Um whenever we put a sort of, help someone, help what am I trying to say? Whenever we try to bring drops into other people's buckets, help them land in other people's buckets, we get drops in our own buckets, right? And so very, very important message. So the idea is to keep your bucket filled and overflowing. And the general rule is that what's in the bucket is for you and what overflows out of it is for others. And again, this is like when we're in the sort of in sync with this, we're in the flow, so to speak, of this, everybody's staying full, right? If we keep ours full, we have more to give to other people. When we do things for other people, it fills us back up. It's a really good place to kind of be in. So, how do I keep my bucket full, you ask? Well, there are lots of ways. I had to say, the whole children's book thing, sometimes children's books just get it done. That was so smooth and easy. And I didn't even read from it. I was just kind of paraphrasing. Um, okay, so how do I keep my bucket full? Well, again, it goes back to worthiness. That is the roots or the source of everything, which is, of course, has itself rooted in our the divinity inside of us. We've got, and it's there. It's there. We just need to kind of working at revealing it, discovering it, rediscovering it. So anyway, okay, so I have the first one is worthiness is key. First of all, as previously discussed, we must know our own value. I mean, that's just it. It's okay to be a work in progress with this because we all are. I mean, I don't think anybody's both feet over the finish line. A sense of worthiness is it's essential to keep our buckets full because we must know on the inside that we deserve the good feels. I mean, that's what it's about. So the next one I have is setting boundaries. Learn to say no to people and their requests for your valuable life minutes. I mean, these our life minutes are our most valued commodities. And so once we kind of get this, hopefully we become ultra selective as far as what we say yes to, and as you know, Brene Brown does a whole lot of research, or has done a lot of research on lots of things, shame and vulnerability and compassion and boundaries and all this stuff. And she's found that the most compassionate people also tend to be the best boundary setters. And it makes sense because they value themselves, they know their own limits, they are therefore able to value other people because we can't value other people if we don't value ourselves. And they know their own limits and they can do it without any guilt. Like, I can do this, this, that, and not this. Thank you for asking. Goodbye. I mean, that's it. So the fuller our buckets, the more we have left over to give to others, which in turn fills us up again. Um, okay, there we go. I have some of these written down. Create a not to do list. This is one of my favorite ones. I often, when I do self care presentations, um, at various colleges and universities and wherever, I often people get the biggest charge out of this one. I don't know why, but I'm glad they do. Create a not to do list. Have that in quotes, and that's right because we can we can almost always. That's because I don't use the word always. I mean, 99.9% of the time, we can scratch something off for that day. Just there's something. The laundry, mañana, even if it's stacked up to the ceiling. Another day ain't gonna hurt, right? So, or the dishes, or emailing people back, that can definitely go. Phone calls definitely can scratch one thing off of there, and then sort of by creating this space and saving some life minutes, then we're ready for the next one I'm going to tell you, which is to do something or share with you, to do something that makes your heart sing each day. And I was just listening to Tony Robbins earlier because to do something that makes your heart sing, it can be something big, like, I mean, not necessarily, well, yeah, I think of a horse right now, so big, yeah. Go ride a horse if you have a horse, or go to a horse place, or um, make a bracelet. There's things that might be more time consuming. You have to go get supplies to do craft stuff. So we're not talking about that. 10 minutes. If you reserve 10 minutes to take a hot bath, 10 minutes just to be by yourself alone, 10 minutes to to make some hot tea for yourself and just sit and stare out the back door, or to give a dog a belly rub, 10 minutes and whatever, whatever, whatever. Tony Robbins was saying, if you don't have 10 minutes to call your own, you don't have a life. So anybody says, "Oh, I don't, you don't understand. I don't have, I can't." Well, then really when it comes down to it, right? Who's in charge of your schedule? Answer, you are. So that, oh, I'm so busy. Da, 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 da. Well, figure it out, right? Start slashing some things off the to-do list so you can create 10 to 15 minutes extra time. I said like to enjoy the morning for one, or like I said, a bubble bath. I'm a big fan. Okay, so the next one is you got to move every day, even if it's just for a few minutes. Again, it comes back to just a few minutes. It doesn't have to be a gigantic investment. And in fact, our oldest son often says that with being physically active. I think it was when we were talking about me getting the bike. I'm an outside active person. However, when it's like super raw and drizzly, sometimes I'll do something inside, but I don't, it's not my favorite to do the bike. So, and I said, Ryan, I just did 10 minutes. And he'd say, well, 10 minutes is better than no minutes. That is the mantra. Some minutes are better than no minutes. Just move. That's an important thing. And you also want to make sure that it's not um, something that feels like a chore. It should be something that you look forward to doing, or it's not going to last long because willpower is overrated. Even somebody who's got, incredibly strong willpower is only going to last so long. It's got to be something that feels inviting. So if going to the gym feels like like military boot camp for you, it's not going to last, not going to work. And then the next one is to do something kind for another person each day. Again, we talked about it with the book, how full is your bucket? When little Felix started to help other people, lo and behold, his own bucket started to fill up, and that's also very Gandhi. Paraphrased. Gandhi said basically that if you're feeling blue, feeling stuck in your head, feeling whatever, fill in the blank with a negative emotion, go out, get out and do something. So often we get trapped in our heads and we even forget that there's any suffering going on in the world. And we're not saying to go, I'm not saying that we have to go and join the Peace Corps or something, but just even striking up a conversation with a stranger for just a minute on a bench or hold the door open for somebody or anything like that is what we're talking about. Or you can also, if it's a rainy Sunday, bake a couple some cookies and bring a few to a neighbor. I don't know, something easy. So the whole point is conscious acts of kindness are bucket fillers on both ends. It just makes everybody feel good, the recipient and the giver. So, and then next, this is important one. Let the good feels in, and this comes right back to our neurons. And neurons are where it all begins. I think, as I've mentioned, it's actually not my Minecraft class, it's my cognitive psychology class. But we have neuron appreciation day, and they even get buttons with little neurons on them and they're chuckling in the beginning. I also bring cupcakes, and they'll chuckle in the beginning, like, "Oh, that's so nerdy." Well, they're not laughing by the end when after they see, little short clips of someone who's in their age range with, ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease, and they see somebody with Parkinson's, and they see somebody with MS. They're not laughing at the end because, when neurons are healthy, we got the whole world by the ass, and it's a little tougher when they're not so healthy. So just throw that out there as a gratitude moment. So it all starts with the neurons. So neurons, in order to know what to do, we have to teach them, and it's constant, just like a 2-year-old. Redirect, redirect, redirect as they continue to try to do what they're used to, do what they want, do what they're familiar with, like that. So we have to give them super clear direction if they're going to rewire. And neurons that wire together fire together. So once we sort of get over that hump, just like you do with a 2-year-old, and they start to get it that you're the boss of them, the neurons get that you're the boss of them too. So let's say, as far as the good feels go, if you're uncomfortable with receiving compliments and therefore not taking these in, the brain will not recognize, never mind seek out the good feels. The next time someone gives you a compliment, stop right in your tracks. This is why I still do this at 58. I had to do it way more when I was in college, and I did wonderful, wonderful people at St. Mike's mirroring value for me. I was so uncomfortable with it in the beginning. And because my brain was like, does not compute. I had this dissonance. I wasn't used to hearing this stuff. And you've got to let the good feels in if that was also true for you because of your backstory like it is for me, or was for me, yeah, it really takes some focus to stand there and breathe and become comfortable with the uncomfortable while you get used to it, because that, just like the 2-year-old thing, we have to redirect the neurons to, okay, I deserve to feel good. This person is giving me a genuine compliment and I deserve to feel good. You keep it up, keep it up, keep it up. And then the brain will get used to good feels and then start to kind of, filter these out of your environment throughout the day and actually even seek them out. So I said, the next time somebody gives you a compliment, okay, so stop in your tracks, breathe deeply. We talked about that, and then kind of pretend like this is what I do with my kids, actually, because the mind is a living room. Open the door to your mind, kind of as if it's a living room, and let the good feels walk in. Okay, let the good feels walk in and grab a chilled Pellegrino out of the fridge by the side of the couch. Okay, it's a Pellegrino fridge, not a beer fridge, and into the living room. The good feels get comfortable. Let them just ease into the couch with the soft pillows. Even picture it as a sectional. Who cares? They put their feet up on the coffee table, whatever. This way, your mind will not only recognize the good feels, but often seek them out, because the good feels are comfortable in the living room that is your mind. Really get that living room picture, okay? And picture all the just good, 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 good feelings. Okay, and then I have lastly is to call in well. I love this. I love this. I actually say this a lot to people just in my life, in the world. I just say it a lot when they're, saying about this and I'm tired. Meh, 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 meh. Call in well. I've always thought that sick days should be renamed or something. I mean, so much energy goes into making stuff up to call in. And then, because people don't, yeah, I mean, some people use them for being sick. Most of what I hear is mostly people are wrapped up in strategizing how to sort of get that call to go through and have it be credible so that they can go off, skiing or to the park, or, take the kid to a baseball game, or I don't know, whatever. But the thing is, when we're trying to finagle these things, finagle the well day by saying all this stuff, right? In order to have fun and relax and to be well. The bummer though is that when we do things this way, it kind of leaves like a carbon print on the day, which is a total bummer. Like even if it's really small, because and tiny, because it prevents us from fully enjoying our life minutes. And this is because on some level, no matter what we tell ourselves, like, oh, I don't like my boss anyway. They work us too hard. I'm not appreciated. I don't make enough money. All the rationalizing with the cognitive dissonance, which is what that is. On some level, we know it's wrong to lie. I mean, it's just how it is. Even if we can try to talk ourselves into all these things, and like I said, they're not paying me enough. They don't appreciate me. Or I've worked a million days in a row and haven't had a day, blah, blah, blah. We still know it's that lying isn't a good thing to do. So we're not fully enjoying. Even if we're enjoying it 97%, it could be 100, right? So, the negative emotions, like we might feel guilty or resentful that we felt like we had to make something up, right, to recharge our batteries. It still puts a damper on the day off. So it's really much better to call in well right from the beginning. And here's the dialogue. I'm just feeling too good, not coming in today, or you know what, the sun's out and I need to fill my bucket. See y'all tomorrow. Okay, so this is it for today. How full is your bucket? I would really suggest taking the time and ask yourself this today. If you're driving in the car, and people often listen to podcasts when they're driving, ask yourself, how full is my bucket anyway? Like if I were going to do a percentage on it, is it, 50% full, 75, 90, or is it way down like in the less than half full mark zone, whatever? And or just visualize it. And if that's true, if it's less than half full, you might want to reevaluate. And if it's even 3/4 of the way full, that's good. But keep working at it. Keep working at it. Less than half, definitely some changes need to be made for sure, because operating with half a tank is really not ideal. Less than half a tank, just not good. So anyway, and then go back and review all these ways to keep our buckets full, because ideally speaking, And once you get the momentum going, it stays like this. It really does. Our number one job is to keep ourselves filled up. What's in the bucket is for us. What overflows is for other people. And that's it. This is Kimberly Quinn signing off from the beautiful, very raw and rainy and contemplative Northern Vermont. Have a mindful day.